is up, YouTube friends? We are back with another video today. So the fat loss series so far has gotten a really good response, and I think that you guys are really gonna like this video as well. Today we are talking about why the scale fluctuates, and we're gonna talk about it in a strictly from a fat loss perspective, since this is a fat loss series. If you missed my first two videos, I will put those in the description box below. Video one was going over how to know if you are ready to begin a fat loss phase, and the second video is going over how to set up calories and protein for fat loss. Super detailed video. It'll tell you every single thing that you need to know on that, so be sure to check those out if you are interested. But I am super excited about this video. If you're new here, my name is Sydney. I am so happy to have you here. If not, thank you for being here and always supporting. You guys are the best. Be sure to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up before we get started to support my channel. If you do enjoy my free content, if you are learning something from this series, it would really mean a lot to me. It does help me out. So be sure to give this a thumbs up and subscribe below if you are not already subscribed. So I do think that this is going to be a quicker video than some of the other ones. I'm sure you guys will appreciate that, but we are just going to go over why the scale fluctuates whenever we are trying to lose body fat, lose weight, all of that. So, and I am sitting down today because, to be honest, I just didn't really feel like standing up today. So that's what we're working with. But with that being said, I guess we'll just go ahead and jump into it. I hope that you guys enjoy this. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and get started. So point number one is going to be, so what if you go into a fat loss phase and there is an initial pretty big drop on the scale? So with this, I think, a lot of people get really excited, or this is why a lot of people like buy into keto and things like that. I'm not talking about keto in this video, but you guys will kind of see what I mean here in a second. So one reason that we can see an initial drop on the scale that isn't necessarily going to all be body fat is a carb drop is also going to come with a water drop. So whenever we just decrease carbs out of our diet, even if we're not taking them all the way out, we are also going to be losing water along with that. So that is one reason though that with a keto diet, you're going to see people, take out all of their carbs and then they're going to lose 10 pounds in a week because of that water. They did not lose 10 pounds of fat in a week. With every gram of carbs, about 4 grams of water is stored, so you can see how that would work. And grams and pounds, don't get those confused, but it does kind of show the ratio that, if we are dropping our carbs, we are going to be seeing some water loss with that, because obviously that carb isn't there anymore, so that water isn't there anymore. So that's going to be a big one. And then another thing that can be an initial drop on the scale is going to be a decrease in inflammation. And this is going to be in cases where, so say somebody was living a very unhealthy lifestyle, had a very unhealthy diet, a lot of just like life stressors, things like that. And then they decided, okay, I'm going to really work on getting into a healthy lifestyle. I'm going to start eating better, less processed foods, drinking more water, things like that. Their body is going to become less inflamed because of that. And with inflammation, we're also going to see water because of that. So if we decrease inflammation, we're also going to be decreasing water. So that also comes back to the whole water thing. So that's not to say that the initial drop is like a bad thing, but a lot of people see that and then just get discouraged whenever it doesn't continue like that. But they aren't accounting for the fact that, that was just mainly that water balance, fluid balance in the body up front. So the second point, what if you start out and you don't have an initial drop, but you have an initial stall? Now this could be for people outside of the category I'm about to say as well, but the main reason that we will see a stall up front is going to be newbie gains. So whenever it comes to beginners, somebody who is just now stepping foot in the gym, or even if maybe they worked out in college and then now they're 40 and they're getting back into weightlifting, that kind of thing, a newbie, they're gonna see initial gains in the gym much easier than somebody who's more advanced, because their body is just so adaptive to everything. Everything is a new stimulus on their body, so they're gonna be able to make those gains, muscle gains, lean body mass gains easier or quicker. And so a lot of times what we can see at first with somebody who's new, and maybe even they do have quite a bit of body fat to lose, is maybe they are losing some of that body fat, but at the same time, because they're in this newbie gain stage, they're also putting on some muscle. So we're not necessarily seeing the scale change, but we are seeing their body composition change. This is where you can hear the term body recomposition a lot. And body recomposition is not impossible for a more advanced person. It does just take a longer amount of time. And from my personal experience, I see more success if I go in phases now that I'm more advanced, because I can, really push the food up with the muscle building, and then, without having to take a whole year to get a little bit of each, if that makes sense. But as a beginner, we will see that, and sometimes beginners can get frustrated because they're like, I'm doing everything right, I'm tracking my food, I'm lifting, I'm doing my cardio that I'm supposed to be doing, but the scale's not moving. But then if you look at their progress photos or their measurements, they're actually making body composition changes. The scale just hasn't gone down yet. Now, with somebody who's not a newbie, if you're still seeing an initial stall, honestly, you just got to give it some time. And it could just be that your body needed that time. And it could be that maybe you actually weren't in a deficit yet and you need to make adjustments, which I will be doing a video on adjustments. And again, if you need to know where to get started, go watch that other video on setting calories and protein in the description box. So the third point I want to make, and the fourth one is the one that you guys are probably going to care about the most, but the third point that I want to make is, what if the scale drops? When the scale drops, but it's not actually because of body fat. So these are just two common reasons. So that's why I put these in here. So number one, you ate earlier than normal the night before. So say you normally finish your last meal at 8 p.m. and weigh yourself at 6 a.m. before, you get ready for work, all of that stuff. But say, the night before you actually had your last meal at 6 p.m. So it had 2 more hours to digest. You might be down on the scale in the morning, and that might not be because of body fat. If there's ever like a drastic change overnight in your weight, and even by drastic, I literally just even mean like 1 to 2 pounds, it's not all body fat. You're not going to do that. That doesn't happen overnight. So it could be, that you ate earlier, so you literally have digested your food more. So there's literally less food inside of you. Or it could be that, okay, and this is my sad attempt at drawing a martini glass, but if you went out the night before and you woke up and the scale weighed less, it is dehydration. Alcohol is a diuretic, it dehydrates you. And a lot of people will literally be like, oh, I just needed that. Like, my body just needed the break. And yes, sometimes that is true, but it didn't need the alcohol. The alcohol literally just dehydrated you. So I think a lot of people, though, they're like, wow, I went out and I lost weight, but I haven't been losing weight up until then. So I guess, the diet part isn't working and I just need to do whatever. And that is not true. Don't let that fool you. That literally probably actually means, oh shoot, I need to make sure that I rehydrate today, and not just with water, getting in electrolytes as well. Pro tip, I always like to go get a Powerade or something like that. But that's going to be a big one. And then really any other kind of water manipulation kind of thing that can make you, weigh less on the scale without it being body fat. So say, a sauna, a steam room, that kind of like less sodium, that kind of thing, which I'll talk more about sodium down here. But anything like that. And sometimes obviously we could see maybe the scale went down 3/4 or 75% because of water, and maybe the other 25% was body fat. But we can't take a low on the scale after a night out and then get mad when it goes back up. So that's something to think about there. And then why would the scale, this is the one that most people are obviously going to care about the most. So why does the scale stall or increase in fat loss phases? Like, why is it so back and forth? And one thing that I want to point out here. That's very important. I am actually going to go ahead and throw up a photo right here of an example of kind of what my last dieting phase looked like. I didn't get as many data points as I wanted to because I didn't know I was going to do this video yet, but you can still see the trends and how, you know, overall it was trending down, but there was little spikes within it. So it's totally normal, and that's one point I want to make before I touch on this is it will fluctuate. If you are going into a dieting phase, please know that your weight is going to fluctuate, so be ready for that and be okay with that, because it is so 100% normal and okay, and it's going to happen. If it didn't happen and we all just like, if you lost weight every single day, you would be down, like, that doesn't happen, and you know that that doesn't happen, so you just kind of have to really not let yourself look at the scale too subjectively, look at it from an outside perspective and be like, okay, listen, I know I'm not going to lose a pound a day. If that were the case, I'd be, you know, 50 pounds in a couple of weeks. Or not a couple of weeks. You guys know what I'm trying to say here. It's going to fluctuate. It's normal. It's part of it. And that's that. And then we'll get to that side of it in a second. But anyways, so the very first reason, well, I guess these two go together. So this says most is water. So the scale will fluctuate, and most weight loss, weight gain, any of that you're seeing is literally fluid balance. It's water. Most of our weight loss in a fat loss phase, I mean, obviously, you know, in some cases with somebody who is overweight, obese, most of that is going to be body fat. Well, not most of it. You're still going to see a ton of water shifts. But anyways, for the most part in fat loss phases, all of your fluctuations are water. There, yes, you will slowly be losing some of that will be body fat, but most of it will be water. So why does it stall or go up? So first one, and the big broad thing is water, and then there's lots of points within this that I'm just going to briefly explain. So number one is going to be sodium, and sodium is not the bad guy, and I do not want you guys to think that at all, because it's not. It's actually very important, and it's, especially for people who train, very important for muscle contractions. So it's not something that you need to cut out by any means at all. You just need to keep it in, and it just needs to be, well, it doesn't even, one second, I will get there. I always go on little mini rants. So our body has like a baseline. So whether you use a little bit more sodium, your baseline's up here, or you use a little bit less and it's down here, whatever it is, once our body goes off of that baseline, water is going to shift as well. So say you ate way less sodium one day, you might, like I said, somewhere over here, you might be less on the scale the next day. But say that you went out to eat, and even if you ordered something, say you went to Chipotle, you hit your macros, but obviously it's going to be a little bit more salty and you had more sodium, you're probably going to wake up and weigh a little bit more, and that's not because of body fat, that's because of sodium. Or say maybe you tracked a couple of packaged things one day that had a little bit more sodium, you're probably going to wake up a little bit heavier on the scale due to water. So sodium is going to shift water, and like I said, sodium is not the bad guy. I actually use quite a bit of sodium, so I don't have too many scale fluctuations because of it, because like my body's kind of used to a little bit more. But like for people who do like restrict sodium, which I would not recommend, I mean, unless your doctor has you on that, obviously for other reasons, but general population, I wouldn't recommend, especially if you're training, and then you do go eat more, scale's going to be up. So the next one is going to be cortisol. This is another thing that is going to increase water retention. So cortisol is going to be one of our body's stress hormones, and it does kind of go along with more water retention. So if we have higher cortisol, which can be from a whole host of things, it can be from life stress, it can be from like chemical stress, it can be from, you know, environmental stress, it can be from mental stress, it can be from gym stress, from working out, overtraining, from lots of things. Even like being in a caloric deficit sometimes can be stressful to the body. So lack of sleep, that's a big one. Lack of sleep is going to increase cortisol levels. All of that is going to increase cortisol, which is going to therefore make our bodies hold on to more water, which is why the scale might be up. A lot of times what I'll see with clients coming to me is like, say they've been eating in a deficit, but they haven't been seeing the scale loss or the scale go down, and I'll literally say, I need you to take 3 days or a week off of the gym. I need you to add more carbs to your diet, and then what do we see? We see the scale drop because water drops, because cortisol dropped. So that's a big one. Hormones is another one, and this is kind of relating to females, mainly here, like with our cycles. Hormones are going to shift, which means water is going to shift, which means the scale is going to go up. I am somebody, I literally gain like 7 pounds on my cycle, and it is literally all water, and I can tell because it's just like, it just feels very watery, and like that is what it is. And everybody's going to have a little bit different, obviously, shifts there, but that's one. And then inflammation is another big one. So inflammation can be from, this is my version of somebody being sick. It can be from illness, because our body's immune response is like, inflammation is our body's immune response. So whenever we are sick or like with an injury, anything like that, inflammation is going to increase, and that's actually a good thing. That is our body's defense mechanism. But it is going to cause water retention, which is going to cause the scale to stall, go up, whatever it may be. Some other reasons for inflammation: training can cause inflammation. It's actually the response that we get from training. It's whenever it stays elevated too long that it becomes an issue. But like if somebody, maybe a newbie, is, you know, really sore and inflamed from a workout that they did and the scale's up for a while, that's normal. Or somebody's overtraining. And then also like cortisol is going to kind of go along with inflammation. Inflammation kind of goes with a lot of different things, but it does cause more water retention. Therefore, the scale could be showing higher, and it might not be body fat. Especially, I mean, if you're sticking to your plan and like you are actually sticking to your plan consistently, likely all of these are not going to be because of body fat. Because even if maybe your body has adapted to the deficit that you're in, you're probably still not in a surplus. So it's probably not body fat. You got to think about it logically there. And I know it's hard to think of it that way, but you really have to. And I'll get to kind of some tips in a second on that. But last thing is going to be if you had more food in your stomach. Because imagine getting on a scale and holding food in your hand. I mean, like literally it's going to weigh more because there's something in your hand. If it's in your stomach, it's the same thing. Your body doesn't, like, it's just there, you know? So that's going to be one. If you ate later, so kind of the opposite of what I said earlier, but like if you normally eat your last meal at 7 and instead you eat it at 10, the food's not going to be as digested yet, so the scale's going to be up, and that's not body fat, it's food. And then if you aren't weighing fasted, I would definitely recommend weighing fasted because of, you know, these reasons. You'll have more food in your gut, you won't be able to get like that true thing. So I always suggest weighing before you drink any water, before you eat anything, and after you have your first bowel movement. If you don't have a bowel movement right whenever you wake up, obviously that's fine. Just keep it consistent with what you normally do, and I wouldn't really recommend and use the same scale every day. And I wouldn't really recommend eating and then weighing, and then some days weighing at night, some days weighing at your gym, keep it the same. I would say fasted in the morning on your own scale is going to be your best bet there. Also, if you're having any digestive issues, so if you are having any constipation, anything like that, you're going to have more food in your gut. That's not fat, but it will make the scale be stalled or artificially inflated. So those are going to be these reasons here. And I keep forgetting I had something in my head. This is what happens when I don't write things down, you guys. So my tip for weighing yourself on the scale is going to be, I personally recommend my clients just to do 3 to 4 times a week so we can get averages, because the scale is going to fluctuate day to day. So doing once a week, if you are, watching the scale to, see trends in body fat loss, things like that. If you only do once a week, it's going to be hard to get a good measure because, maybe one week you catch the high fluctuation, the next week you catch the low one. It's just going to throw off the actual trend that's happening. So I always recommend weighing 3. I mean, if you want to weigh every day and it doesn't bother you, go for it and you'll get the best average. But even 3 to 4, 3 to 5 times a week, and then get an average and compare your averages to each other rather than your day-to-day fluctuations. And then you'll see in that picture that I put up earlier, is that maybe there are little spikes, but it's trending down over time. So yeah, that's gonna be the video. Fluctuations are gonna happen. It is mostly water. But hopefully this was helpful. If you guys enjoyed it, please give this a thumbs up. And if you think that this could be helpful for somebody, because I know especially for women and men too. I mean, it's something that a lot of people do struggle with. It's something that I have struggled with in the past a lot until I learned more of the science behind it and I'm able to look at it more objectively. So if you think this could help somebody, please share it and, you know, help some people out with this. Just be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, because it really does help me, and I really do appreciate that from you guys so much. And if you are enjoying this series, let me know. If you guys have any questions or anything at all, drop them in the comments and I would be happy to answer. And I mean, if you just want to like let me know your thoughts on the series, anything like that, feel free to say hi in the comments below. I always love to connect with you guys. But yeah, so that's gonna be it for me for this video. Again, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that now whenever you weigh yourself, you will be able to think of all of this rather than letting, you know, a little fluctuation ruin your day. So that's gonna be it for me, you guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.